Well, hello Stampers and happy Monday. That means it's time for the Cheer Corner video. So every Monday at 10 a.m. I do a video that I call Cheer Corner. And the purpose is to make a card that you can nominate me to send to someone. The idea is to spread cheer and to change the world one card at a time. I truly believe that is possible. So I'm coming to you from Schravenzelde, the Netherlands. So this week and next week, and then I'll be back in Canada again. So you always have to listen carefully to find out where I'm coming to you from. Anyway, today in the Netherlands, it is finally a rainy day. We haven't had a rainy day in 2.5 weeks, which is really unusual. So let's take a look to see what I have planned for you today. So last week, I made this card for my Stamping Through My Stash, and the purpose was to use the Nuts About Squirrels set, and there's that cute squirrel, and there's this one, and there's these great sayings. But one of the reasons I made this card is to use up my pattern paper because it's the end of a catalog year and we always buy more paper than what we can use. But instead of being like upset about that and being frustrated that maybe you spent too much money on pretty paper, let's turn that energy into something positive and make some beautiful cards. So I have not one card for you today, but three. So let's get started. This is the kind of the sample that we're going on. The strips of paper are 3/4 of an inch by 3 1/4. So 3/4 of an inch by 3 1/4. Now let's do that in centimeters for a minute. That is about 1.9 centimeters. So you could even go to 2 centimeters if you wanted to by 8.3. Okay, so 1.9 by 8.3 centimeters. And then you can just mix it up. Okay, so the first card we're going to do is, I've got a whole pile of stuff piled up right here. It's using the Wild Cats stamp set, and the die from the Wild Cats actually cuts out the cat from the paper. So you can either stamp it or cut it. So the way these cards work is that you have the 5 or 6 or 7 strips of paper, you have a big image, and then you have your saying. So my focal point is going to be one of the cats. I just haven't decided which. And I thought for this card that I wouldn't do a white mat. So I'm just going to move all these creatures. I thought I'm just going to lay them out, okay, and see how it looks. Because you can always switch it up. I kind of like to intersperse a busier pattern with a pattern that isn't quite so busy. I really like this one, and so I might make that one a bit of a focal point here. So let's have a look there, and I'll put that one on top. However, that's just a start, and then I have to decide which animal I want. Do I want a sitting down guy? Actually, I kind of like him on that side. Have a wild birthday. Yes, then I have him showing up quite nicely. I like the contrast of the yellow one. I could have done this guy on the bottom here. See, or you could even do two of a wild birthday with two of them and put it up somewhere else. Anyway, I'm quite happy with the way I have my little strips of paper, so I'm going to put them on first. Okay, and I like the idea that there's no white. I like the contrast against Cajun Craze. Okay, so I'm using a little bit of liquid adhesive. So this is a great way to mix and match your pattern paper and to pick up some stamp sets that go with it. That is the beauty of Stampin' Up, that we have such coordination with the colors of cardstock, the pattern paper that has the colors in it, and then the stamp sets that have the images from the pattern paper. It's kind of nice. No, I can't remember. I think I've got mixed up here. My paper's got a bit of a pile. There's also an embossing folder that goes with this that has kind of a tiger print. I forgot about that. So now I'm going to leave this one out. I want this one to be a bit of a focal point. You can kind of switch which papers stick up and which ones fall down a little bit. And that really does have an effect on what your card looks like. And it doesn't, you can see how I'm really not being too particular about how I'm laying my pieces of paper, because that's part of the beauty of it, that it's a little mishmash. Okay, it's not perfection. Okay, and then if you need to, you can always add another one, because I noticed that I have a little bit more space than I thought I would. That's okay. And now that one's going to go in the middle. And every card is going to turn out differently, but the nice thing is you really get to showcase your pretty paper. I want that one on top. And I purposely cut this strip of paper so that the head of the tiger was showing on that piece. And then to make it a little bit more interesting, you might want to pop up your animals. So I have that one, and I have this one. Now that one really, it does stick out a little bit because it has the white edge around it, but we also like to see the green one. The green one looks quite nice on there too. Now, the question is, do I want one or do I want two? Or, yeah. I kind of like it with two. Yeah. So I'm going to do this one flat, and I'm going to pop up the guy that's sitting, and I'm going to pop up the saying. And that little die cut that I'm using, it is from Dress to Impress. And I think the dies are called All Dressed Up, okay? And this is the one that I used from there, okay? It seems to be quite versatile. There's a lot of sayings that fit into it. And that one is retiring, okay? That means it's only available till April 30th. Okay, now for this guy, I want to pop him up with some dimensionals. And a dimensional, that this sheet is almost empty. They're just little foam shapes that raise up your image a little bit. So put them on the back. And now I have one more here. And then you have your edge pieces. And your edge pieces, you can just tear them. You don't even have to get scissors. See? Don't throw out those edge pieces because they're not perfect shapes anymore. And then just peel off the backing. And here you have it. So there's our tiger, there's the other guy, and now we'll do a strip again on the back. And then I kind of eye it to see where I want it, and I kind of want it on this, starting on that piece. There. And then if you wanted to, you could add some twine or something else, but I kind of like it just the way it is. But that's just for the sake of fun. I'm going to take a double piece of twine, tie it in a bow, and see what it looks like. And then if I don't like it, I can always save it for something else. There, so now I have my double bow. Cut it. And I could put that there. Sure. So we'll do that. And I'm going to get out my glue dots. Always keep your glue dots covered by the last little bit. So uncover it, you'll see the first glue dot. Give it a push. So there. Lift it up. Did it come off? It did, but barely. There. And I want to just lift this up a little bit and put it under. Like so. Then it looks less bowy. Okay? I'm quite happy with the way that turned out. So simple card. Now let's look at the difference. We have, I'm just going to move my stamp set out of the way. So we have this one, and we have this one. See, so it looks totally different when you don't use the white mat around it. But it's exactly the same idea. I changed up where I put the sentiment, but you can see how one card can inspire the other one. And now we're going to make a Mother's Day card, although I was going to tell you something about this. Just 1 second. Well, I found what I was looking for, and I have a mystery for you. So here's the die, and here are the tigers. But how, this makes sense, I could cut this tiger out like this, but how on earth did I cut this guy out? Okay, I started with just taking a blank card like this, and I laid my die on it, and I cut it out. So now I have an opening, 2, okay? Next, here is the pattern paper. So I can show you See, this doesn't work. This guy doesn't work. This one does. This one does. This one does not. So what I did was I went like that, and then I trimmed my piece of paper down so that it fit through the die cutting machine, and then I held it firmly in here, and then I laid this in here. So then I cut out what looks like just a solid tiger, but when you run it through your die cutting machine, then you end up with this. Now, sometimes it can be hard to get it exactly perfect. So what I would do with this one, his face is just a little bit more white than here. So you could, if you're really persnickety, you can just trim it down a little bit. See? But that's a lot less work than fussy cutting the whole thing. See? Now he's really nice. So that's the trick for cutting out your tigers both ways. All right? I hope you found that helpful. So the next one we're going to do is the pansies. Now, I forgot to take my pansy stamp with from Canada, but I did have the paper. So what I had to do, I'm pretty sure, and if you guys are watching and you have this set at home, please let me know. I think that the pansy dies cut out the pansies from the paper, okay? Let me know, but I fussy cut them, and I fussy cut 5 because I wasn't sure which ones I was going to do. The other thing you can do with your pattern paper at the end of, you know what, I'm just going to switch to here for a minute. The other thing that you can do at the end of a season with your pattern paper, with what you have left, is to be generous with it. So cut it in ways that you might not otherwise cut. For example, normally when I make a card, I will cut my layers of pattern paper into 4 inches by 5 1/4, because if you go bigger than 4 inches, you can't get 3 strips out of a 12 by 12. But now, let me switch now. I just wanted to share my enthusiasm. I cut a piece of pattern paper, this one, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, so that it completely covers my card front. See, I'm being generous, and it feels so good. And then when I put this white piece on, it still has a beautiful piece of gingham all the way around. And I could perhaps, I'm just going to lay my pieces of paper on here. Now I want that leaf going up, and then it's got some bees on it. It's so cute. Let's have a look. I kind of like this one beside it. Here. See, we could trim the white piece down a little bit if I wanted to. And I like, for some reason, I like the yellow flowers at the bottom here. And then, so, and then a yellow one here. There. That's what I have. And if I wanted more of the gingham to show, but I'm looking at it now, and you know what? I don't want more of the gingham to show. I want that white edge because it needs that, otherwise it's going to be too busy. And then I have my Happy Mother's Day, which is going to show up here somewhere. And then I have to decide which pansies I'm going to use. Okay, I'll put the papers on first. Okay, let's just move this out of the side. I just find it's really important for me to share my process about how I come up with choosing how to lay the paper out, so that you can visualize it. Those are good things to learn how to do. It builds your confidence in playing with pattern paper and with design. And I'm just going to show you how, with one simple design, you can make a bunch of different cards that look very different one from the other. So there, and because I'm using liquid adhesive, I can slide it so that it fits a little bit better. And if perhaps, and this will happen sometimes, that you've cut wrong, if you're off only 1/4, 1/8 of an inch or a 1/16 of an inch, you can trim it with your paper trimmer. But this looks just fine. So let's have a look-see. I'm going to start with my outside pieces, I think. With a trick like this, it really makes a difference how you layer your pieces and which pieces stick up more. So I want that one sticking up, and this one, and this one. And the other ones can go flat. All right, let's see how I do. And you know, people are all different, so you might choose different patterns. You might choose bolder patterns. Generally speaking, when you use a simple pattern like this and then a busier one, that looks nice together when you kind of intersperse them. If you put two busy ones together, it can be too much for the eye to take in. So, but when you have little strips like this, you really see things in the paper that you might not otherwise see, like those little bees, for example. I thought they were super cute. Tomorrow, I will be doing the third in a series of stamps and stories, sharing my parents' story. I hope you can join me then. My videos on YouTube are always at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 4 p.m. in the Netherlands. There, I'm going to put that one fairly straight. And then this one's going to go in between the two. So, whoops, now I'm getting sticky fingers. Oh, that one. Yeah, okay, we're good. You almost feel bad when you put glue on the back of a paper that you really like. But this gives your pattern paper equal opportunity to shine. I don't think that one was beside there. I'm getting mixed up. This is not good. Well, this is what I'm going to do. And then this one's going to go in between. Yeah, that's nice. And did you know that when you order your paper, on the back of your paper is a thicker piece of cardboard, and on the back of that, it will say all the names of the colors that are in your pattern paper. So that's really helpful. And you can just choose those, and then you'll be able to coordinate your cards beautifully. I also purposely cut this one so that the stripes went crossways, okay? And that's, again, a personal preference, whether you want that or not. But those are things to pay attention to when you're cutting your strips of paper. How do you want your pattern to look? I forgot to turn my phone on Do Not Disturb, so I'm really hoping that no one decides to call me. There, I want more of that polka dot pattern showing, so I'm just angling this a little bit this way. Yeah. And then this was my busy one, and I'm going to pop it up right in the middle. Well, it's not popped, they're all flat. But there we go. So that's the simple part. Now we're going to put this, actually, you know what, before I do this, so let's say we want to add a piece of ribbon or something. Then we want to do that before we put it on here. Okay, and I'm thinking that might be a really good idea. That idea just came to me. Let's play with it. Okay, I could not find the ribbon. I must have taken it back to Canada. What I was hoping for was the soft succulent ribbon, and I only have it in Evening Evergreen, and that's just too dark. So we're not going to do that. It does match, but I think it overpowers the card. So I'm just going to go with this plain white twine. And what I'm going to do is just wrap it around a couple of times. So. And I'm just going to tie it on the end here. And I like the fact that it's spread out a little bit. I'm going to tie it in a knot and then in a little bow. There. I like the idea of twine and gingham. I don't know, it reminds me of picnics. There. And now I'm toying with the idea of popping this whole panel up. It will just change everything, I think. So let's do that. And these pieces, these edge pieces are wonderful for this. So it's just like little corners here. And it's nice how they just tear and you don't have to cut. Because when you cut through adhesive dimensionals, it will also make your scissors a little sticky. You want to avoid that. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that up, center it, and then I want the Happy Mother's Day here. Now I don't like the fact that I might use a little mini dimensional. I don't like putting dimensionals on top of a ribbon and twine because then it doesn't stick as well. So I'm putting one right in between here. here and here. And then the last one will be fine. It doesn't matter if it's not sticking. There. So that's going to go like this, and I'll put one more on the end here. And that should stabilize my saying. Okay, so I'm just going to put that all the way up to there. And now I'm going to make a little collage of violets. I love violets. Violets are everywhere. I'm guessing anywhere, as soon as the frost is gone, people plant violets. And I can tuck that one under here a little bit, like so. And then either a pink one or an orange one. And I think I'm going to do the orange. The pink one. The orange ties in the polka dots. The pink one ties in the saying. I think I'm going to do the pink one, and we'll put the other one in the inside of our card. Okay, so I'm just going to do. You can also bend them a little bit. Here. So that one's going to go like so, and then this one, I'm just going to put a few dimensionals there, just on this one end. So, oh, did I put it on the wrong end now? I think I did. Or did I want to do it this way? Did they look upside down that way? Well, you know what? We're going to do it just so that they're different. There, and then the pink one. And the pink one is just going to have a big dimensional. I'll use this corner piece in the middle. And then if you wanted to up the ante a little bit, you could add some gems. It's a beautiful bird singing in the yard. Isn't that nice? So I really love it. And maybe I'll look for some gems, and then in the inside, look, this is for Mother's Day, so I'll just write a really nice little saying in there. And maybe we need a third, but I will put these in for now. And like I said, there's a stamp to go with this, there's dies, but my purpose today is to just show you how to use your pretty patterned paper with a simple layout. So there, we've already had 2 cards. I've used up some wonderful paper, and I've used a die that I haven't used a whole lot of, and I think it's looking quite great. This is a pretty busy card, I'm not going to lie, but who doesn't like a profusion of flowers for Mother's Day? You could even plan a picnic around this. Okay, card number 3, and you know what, normally I don't do 3 cards for Cheer Corner, but I really I couldn't decide on just one paper, and I wanted to show you how different the cards could look with with different paper and different stamp sets. So for this one, I've used the stamp set. Let me see, where did I put it? Oh goodness, I had everything laying out so nicely. One sec. So I'm using for the last card this Plentiful Plants and the So Succulent paper. So the paper has these pots and it has this greenery that you can cut out using the dies. So I did that, and then I also fussy cut these leaves. You know what? Seeing is believing. This set also comes in Dutch, and it also cuts out some beautiful hanging pots and baskets too. So let's have a look. This little guy cuts out that one. Oops. And then it cuts out this pot here, and it does this round pot. So, okay. So that was cool. I cut out a bunch of those. And then this one cuts out this guy here. And this one cuts out this leaf here. And there's one other one. This one cuts out the little cactus here. Now I was really hoping for this one as well, but I didn't see that. So then you'll also see this thing for greenery. It's kind of like an aloe plant. This one cuts out this stamp, and this one cuts out the drapery stamp. Let me just open it up here. So this one cuts out that, and this one cuts out this one here. My mom used to have a stamp like that, and it's called a string of, not a stamp, a plant. String of pearls. Apparently it's really hard to grow, and we always had one growing up. So my mother certainly did have a green thumb, or does have a green thumb. She's 90, and she's still propagating orchids. I love it. I love it. Always, always nurture your hobbies. Okay, so I've done the same thing with this card, where I've cut out a piece of 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 paper, and then the white piece is 3 3/4 by 5. Okay, so we're going to adhere this to the card front. This side is nice too, I have to say. Oh my goodness, is that better? Maybe I'm going to wait. So I've stamped my saying, to a dear friend, and then I have. Oh, it does look nice with the greens, doesn't it? Let's have a look. There's a lot of not such busy patterns in here, which is kind of cool. Here. I kind of like it on the green. Okay, let's have a close look. See, here it is on green. And then flip it. Oh, definitely. I like it on the green. Okay, that was a happy accident. This was not my plan. Okay, so we're going to have it like this, and then I have to put this together yet. I was just playing. I have this, so, see, and then to a dear friend. Oh yeah, that looks lovely. And I'm even thinking we could offset this. Okay, so as we play, we see that there are other possibilities. Okay. There we go. Tomorrow, I'm going to pre-record my video for my parents' story, because tomorrow we are going to Floriade. And Floriade is the biggest flower show ever. And it's like an industry show that happens once every 10 years. And Gerard is head of the Amaryllis Growers Association, so he has to do a presentation. And I'm going to be there to cheer him on. And I will share photos of what we see. Okay, so this is the one that I want on top, and other than that, it doesn't matter too much. So I will be taking my trusty camera, and they just display the flowers so beautifully. I have gone once before in my life. I think I went with some uncles when I was here as a teenager. I don't really remember, though. It's all very vague. I'm thinking I'm going to have more fun going with Gerard. No slur on my uncles. You know what? I want to move that over a bit. It's too late. Too late. The thing with Tombow is that you can slide it over, but it does stick super well. Once it's down, it's down. So, what do you think of this technique? Do you think it's nice? Are you encouraged to use up your pattern paper? Don't feel guilty for the pattern paper that you have. Just remember how much joy it gave you. Think about when you buy a cup of coffee and you drink it up and you have a treat and then it's gone. Or you buy flowers for yourself and they bloom for a week and they die and it's gone. Pattern paper you bought, you've used, so don't mourn the fact that you have extra pattern paper. Just remember how much joy it gave you just looking at it. You know, we as women, we spend far too much time on guilt. So here you can make up some nice sets of cards. And you know, another good idea is that use your hobby as a way for the greater good. You can make up packs of cards and sell them and raise money for Ukraine, right? There's always ways to use your hobby to make the world a better place. Now, I would have actually liked it if my pieces of paper had been a bit closer together. I spread them out a little bit too much, but it's done. So we're just going to leave it at that. And I think I want this one off-centered a little bit. But before we do that, I'm going to grab, well, I was hoping to grab my silicone mat, which is usually, I've got this beautiful organizer here in front of me, but it's not, I found it. So let's take a peek. we have three things here. This is the die cut. These were cut. This is a die cut from the paper, and this was fussy cut from the paper. So I could just have it like this, but then I thought it would look really nice in the basket. But to make it more realistic, I want to tuck this in between. So I'm trying to, it takes a little bit of there, and then maybe even one more there. And then I'm doing this. And then I think it's going to work. So I'm going to tip this over. I'm going to put a little bit, this is a little, I don't know what the word is for this. It's a little acrobatic. I'm putting a little bit of adhesive in behind here. I'm sliding this pot. Right. And then I'm going to turn it around and move it while I still can. Here. I'm going to slide the plant in. And thankfully that will dry clear. Just going to wipe it off, just like this, get rid of it. And now, this is where it gets tricky. I'm going to take a sponge. I just want my piece to stick together. I'm making a little puddle here, little one. My lid has to go back on, putting that away upside down. And now, I'm going to do this. And I'm just tapping it on the back. I'm probably going to get a bit on my fingers. That's okay. There. I'm pressing it there. And then the rest, it won't go. I don't have to do it on this side. I think we're good to go. Now, that should go straight up and down. Maybe we'll pop it up. And watch this. With the pop, we're going to put those strategically. Look at this. I'm going to use the rest of my strip. And look, I'm going to put that across, and that holds it in place. Okay, and then I'm going to put this one across here for a little added stability, and this in the bottom. See, so our adhesive is doing two things at once. There we go. And now, before I decide on anything, I'm going to lay things out again. So I have my card base, I have this. I was playing with doing it like so a little bit. Let's see how that looks. I think that'll work. Okay, so that's going to go, I have it sideways a bit, but I want this looking like it's straight up and down. That was too quick. Uh-oh, we're in trouble, girls. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a problem. Okay, I'm going to lay that on first. I'm getting squirrely. And you know what? If a card turns out and it's not exactly what you want, and you should have done it straight instead of on a diagonal, it's not the end of the world, you know? That's going to go like so. And I know that some people absolutely hate asymmetrical compositions, and that's okay. We each then don't do it, just put it square. But I want my pot to be straight up and down on this. For some reason, that's important to me. And maybe that will screw everything up, I do not know. And now, look, we used up all our dimensionals. And I'm going to just pop that right here. And then maybe we'll put a bow at the top. I'm out of my bigger dimensionals here. I don't like using the little ones if I don't have to. They go a little goes a long way, but they're great for the small spaces. So there we have 3 cards using the same idea of the strips of paper. And then I do have some twine that has, so here is the twine. The twine comes with a 5-pack. So I've used the white on the other card, and I'm thinking that maybe this macrame color, either the black might look really nice, or this cream color. The black is really grabbing me. Let's have a look. And I mean, if you macrameed, you could probably do something even cooler. But I'm just going to do this, and I should have done this before maybe, but I'm going to see if I can get it. Yeah. See? So, and let's see. I want a bigger piece to hold on to, so I'm just going to make it a little bit longer. Yeah, you guys are getting it raw and real, that is for sure. Okay, so I'm making a longer piece, and I do realize that that might be wasting a little bit. And I'm taking all of it, making a loop. And yeah, that looks cool. And then I'll put that loop down with a glue dot. So use your pokey tool, and then take a glue dot off. See, so the glue dot is on the tip, and I'm going to put it right here, and then I'm going to press my knot right on there. And then you want to have ribbon scissors. So here they are. See, they have some ribbon. And I'm just going to tie that. Cut it. Okay, there is the last card. How cool is that? So 1, 2, 3, and here's the original. And then I have one bonus one, and I don't know if I'm going to finish it, but I just wanted to show you something because it's cute. It doesn't involve the strips, but it does involve the cute little plants. So I have here this one, and the pot with the, I think that's a snake plant. Okay. My daughter-in-law tells me that it's called mother-in-law's tongue or something, and I thought that was quite funny. I don't know if that's true. So here we're going to put a little bit of adhesive on the bottom of this. And what this card shows you is that it's really cool to stamp on pattern paper. I'm just going to do that. There, lay it aside. There we go. And I don't know if I'm going to tie anything around it. I think I'm going to leave it clean and simple. So this is just, it's beautiful paper. This paper would be great for scrapbooking pages as well, for home decor pieces. Your pattern paper really can do an awful lot to make you happy in its use. It's just like people who sew. We love, people who sew love fabric. Oh, that's just sticking too well. If you find that, then just take your 2 corners, and when they're down, there. And then this, I stamped on, I used my Stamparatus, and I stamped right on that pretty paper. And I got that idea from the catalog, believe it or not. That's going to go here. And then I have 3 plants. This one, and I'm not sure if I should put that one in behind. No, that one's going to sit in front. Yeah. Okay. This one's going to go flat. And the other ones, I'm not putting anything on the leaves. There. You want to make sure your middle leaf is straight up and down. We'll put some dimensionals on the little guy. Oh, that's a little one here. One to hold it together. One up here. This was also sort of cased from a card in the catalog, but it showed more, it only showed 2 pots, and I like the idea of having 3. You know, when you arrange your pots in your room, I don't know if that one looks better tucked in. No, it doesn't. That one has to stand in front. Okay, so we'll give it a couple of dimensionals. So this one's just a simple card, and the whole focus, the only stamping is the sentiment. And I don't want that one even with this one, so I'm going to put it right at the bottom. So, and then this is going to get dimensioned as well. And I would love to see what you have made. If you're watching this on YouTube, please click on the red subscribe button on the bottom right-hand corner and leave me a comment. I love reading your comments. I really find that I get to know you and you get to know me, and it's just a wonderful thing, and I appreciate it. If you need any of the supplies, you can click on the links in the description. There's a little thing that I never used to know. When you're on YouTube and you see the video, then there's a little bit of a description, but then there's a tiny little thing that says show more. If you click on that, then you get the links for shopping and you get any other more interesting information, sometimes some measurements or a nice description of what happened. And now the only other thing I think this needs is maybe a little bit of linen thread. What do you think? Okay, so I have some linen thread. It comes on a really big spool. Look at that. I have not been able to find linen thread anywhere else that is as nice as Stampin' Up's. So I'm just pressing this on here, and then take your poke tool and take it off. And I'm going to put it right there. How nice is that? Simple card, a little note with the biggest thanks. And you know, sometimes we just want to add too much to a card. You could add some gems or something, but I like it clean and simple. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you were, here I can close that now. I hope that you were inspired to use up your pattern paper and that you can let go of the guilt for perhaps having a lot of it. It's okay. And if you really are drowning in pattern paper and you couldn't use it up in 100 years, then donate some to your local schools. Schools, a lot of teachers are ending up spending their own money on crafting supplies, so they'd be thrilled to get some pattern paper. Women's shelters, community centers, daycare centers, all those places could use beautiful pattern paper. So together, let's make the world a better place. And if one of these cards has spoken to you and you think, oh, I know who should get that card, please let me know in the comments and I will send your card away this week. I will let you know if you were the winner. But be sure in your nomination to let me know why you think your person should get this card. All right, have a super day. Bye.